Hello, YouTube. So today we're going to be taking a look at the numbers for Tesla. And, are they actually going to go broke anytime soon? Or, are there any great storm clouds on the horizon, that sort of thing. Now, this is the yearly profits of Tesla going back, 5 or so years. Historically, they've lost money. This is the total amount that they sold minus the total amount that it cost them to run everything. And, so they've lost up to $2 billion a year historically. You'll see later on these are all actually really small numbers that are almost operationally insignificant compared to the inflated value of the company. Anyway, last year they actually made a profit of about $500 million, which yeah, this is actually mostly the tax credits that the company got. So arguable, well, even if they're break even, they're still going to be making a lot of stuff, as we'll see. So if we take a look at the total amount of stuff that Tesla made and sold, last year, 50 odd $1 billion, which is that's pretty respectable. So even if you take this as they made $500 million profit off 50 billion sold, it's about 1% profit margin. Most people would see that as fairly marginal, but they did actually turn a profit. And roughly how many EVs did they sell? Well, according to this, they sold some, give or take, 500,000 units. So 500,000 units at $50 billion. That's just under $100,000 per car sold ish. So a fairly luxury item to be sure. It's difficult to see that you're going to go into the mass market with that, but or looked at another way, if you sold 500,000 cars for half of 500 million in profit, it's roughly $1,000 profit per car ish, is what they're looking at. Okay, so let's take a look at how all that might relate to Tesla in general. So let's see if we can actually get up here, about there somewhere. Total value Tesla. And we're going to need a lot of zeros for this. So we're going to start off with 3 zeros. Oops. And then we're going to add 3 more, which is going to be our thousands. Then we're going to add 3 more. Those are going to be our millions. 3 more is going to be our billions. And there's the value of Tesla, which is 1. About $1 trillion. Roughly the same market value. This is, if you were to sell all the shares in it, that's what it would be worth. There's all of the other car manufacturers put together, which is clearly absurd, given that even worldwide, EVs are only 2% of, 2.5%, that sort of thing of the car market. This is just ludicrous. Anyway, but let's get all the other stuff on here. So total sales was about 50 billion, and profits was about 500 million. So is the company really worth its production for 20 years? But that's nothing. Once we put Musk on here, all of these numbers become absolutely absurd. So if we put Musk's wealth on here, now Musk's wealth is mostly tied up in the Tesla stock. And at its peak, it was about $300 billion. But, this is how Elon Musk's value went up from sort of $30 billion at the beginning of last year to $300 billion this year, is just basically the Tesla stock went up by a factor of 10 in price. Um, so if you believe that as a valuation for Musk, he can buy every single car for his wealth. He can buy every single car that Tesla makes for 6 years. Is if you really believe that number. But there are some benefits if you've got a company with a hugely inflated stock price, that you got some shares in, or you got paid in some sort of share deal. Now, I don't know quite the details of this, but Musk was bragging that his tax bill, he was moaning that his tax bill this year was $10 billion. Now, it happens that the tax that you pay on shares, you usually only pay them when you cash them in or they become due or something. But it's the lowest tax rate that you can basically have in America. It's about 20%. So what that means is that Elon Musk actually got about $50 billion this year. So, Musk earned, if you like, as much as the entire company produced in all of its sales of all of its cars. And at that point, it starts to become a little silly. Now, it should be stressed that the Musk sold the estimates are is he sold so this is going to be Musk shares sold. He sold some of his Tesla stock, which is basically turning monopoly money here into real money. I'm not quite sure where this $50 billion is, but I think it still exists in shares in the company, but I've not tracked it down. But yeah, needless, if he got the tax bill of this, then that's basically income that he had. But anyway, so the shares that he sold were some 15 billion, which is again selling shares in this which are hugely overvalued, turning it into real money. And so even assuming there is no significant danger apparently of Tesla going broke anytime soon. It's likely that the interiors of the company don't work with the sort of monopoly money numbers, and cash flow problems of few billion could throw a significant spanner into the works here. Well, I mean, a few billion would be a few percent of their yearly budget. So, yeah, is there any prospect of this bubble bursting anytime soon? I'm not so sure. I mean, the way I see it is, if Musk really has sort of pocketed the best part of 50 billion out of this, he could, well, basically give away Teslas for a year and keep the company afloat. So looked at like that, it looks like it can go on for some time. Now, there are things that might sort of scupper this somewhat, and of stuff that might scupper this somewhat are, if we can pull up the this one, there we go. So stuff that can screw this over is, number one, lots more competition on the market, right? So it was for a time that Tesla was, pretty much only game in town. Now this is taking a look at, Top Gear's electric cars, or top electric cars, and there's a lot of selection here. a lot of selection, and all major car manufacturers now sort of putting out their EVs. And number one isn't a Tesla. Number two is. Number three isn't. Number four isn't. Number five isn't. Number six isn't. Number seven isn't. Number eight isn't. Number nine isn't. Number 10. Right. So it is now. There's real competition in the EV market. Now you might give Musk credit for this, saying that well, that's one of the things he was trying to do was to move people over to electric vehicles. But if you're going to praise him in that breath, you also have to put in the muted criticism that actually he didn't found Tesla. And Tesla was and still is a premium car company. The Roadster, the car they were initially making when Musk bought his majority share in Tesla, was a sort of super premium car, and now they're just into premium cars. So the thing is that everyone else here is there's a lot more real competition in the market. None of that's likely to be a real problem. All of the if you can sell your cars, you're going to be doing okay. What might be more of a problem for Tesla on the horizon is if you start getting shortages of stuff to make the batteries. So this is your main problem, is if you take a look at the total amount of lithium-ion batteries made back in 2016, that's basically all of this crap here. And you take a look at that bit and you stick it on the top here, it's actually not that different. That bit there to that bit there, ignoring the pink bit and the blue bit. Take a look at the blue bit, that's the battery electric vehicle. So there's been a huge, the battery electric vehicles and these other EVs here have more or less quadrupled the market for batteries. They're made them a lot cheaper as well, but the problem is that if that leads to a price spike because you're running out of your raw materials, which is lithium carbonate equivalent prices per ton. If you have a price spike, then that makes electric cars less competitive. Now, of course, that's true for all electric cars, right? So this is a problem for all of them. If they, it's the same sort of deal with the chip shortage. That if you run out of chips, it's going to affect everyone. The downside is, of course, that Tesla electric cars is all they make. They're a one-trick pony like that. Whereas places like Porsche and such like, they sell other things, so they will have some buffering against this, which Tesla won't. But I mean, honestly, if I'm just taking a look at Tesla's finances, it's all the stuff about Tesla semis and all that sort of thing. Hugely, it's all bullshit. All the stuff about Tesla full self-driving, that's not going to happen anytime soon. And likewise, the idea that Tesla is some sort of energy company that is going to revolutionize energy installation, solar panels, all that sort of thing, is an extremely competitive business, very small margins. They're not going to make any great profit out of that. So, yes, this is massively overvalued, and it is possible that the whole thing becomes absolutely crashing down if it turns out that the numbers aren't quite as rosy as they've been portraying, which dealing with Musk, entirely possible. But this number has to come down at some point, right? Tesla cannot stay with a tiny fraction of the total car sales being worth as much as all the other car companies put together, especially once all the other car companies start making electric cars. Anyway, whilst we're on the subject, Elon Musk's moon landing thing, his moon landing contract from NASA, which was worth $2 billion, I think, might have been $3 So Musk has been known to shuffle around money from one company to another by buying bonds. This is what he did with Solar City. Is he used SpaceX to buy Solar City bonds? So he does have this sort of independent real money he can also sort of shuffle around. Incidentally, if he loses the Solar City um, trial, he has to pay out. I forget what it is. It's like 2 to 4 billion, that sort of thing, um, which could be again something that sets off a sort of cascade failure or something. I don't know. But well, the reason I want to bring this up is the moon landing thing. I don't see that happening on any front. In that you take a look at the proposal of what they've got to do, they've got to launch. First of all, they've got to launch the Starship, which they've not done yet. So they're going to get the Starship into orbit, and then you need to launch 6 more of them just to fuel this thing up, such that it can go to the moon. And they've got to do this in a very short period of time. And thus far, they've not even flown the Starship, let alone the idea of rapid reusability. So, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Anyway, right. So, Tesla doesn't actually look that bad on paper. Even though it's massively overvalued, they've got pretty decent sales, marginally profitable, but profits in cars can be fairly small. And they're a luxury item. So, if you saturate the market there, you might run into problems. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, drop a thumbs up on it, and I will see you next time.